Good evening. Good evening. What's up, everybody? Hope everybody had a wonderful day. I had a good day, had a busy day today. Man, I was busy at work. It was nonstop from when I walked in until I walked out. Well, up until about the last hour I walked out. It was a super busy day, but truly blessed. Blessings of recovery just keep happening daily, day in and day out. Beautiful thing. Well, I hope everybody's having a great evening. I appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. I have a very special guest tonight from Alabama. She's going to share her story tonight from addiction to recovery. You know how I am. I like to keep it real. It's going to be real, uncut, unfiltered. I gave her the green light. Let the F bombs fly if you need to. It's cool with me. I'm sure it's cool with you guys too. But I hope her story tonight, inspires others. That's what it's all about. Carrying a message. Hopefully it may help somebody move forward in their recovery. Reach out. I struggled with reaching out and being honest with other people and asking for help. It's all about possibly changing someone's life. Hopefully saving a life. Um, that's what it's all about, guys. I'm going to bring Heather on tonight and let Heather say hello to everybody. I'm going to bring her on.
Hey,
Welcome, Heather.
what's up, Joe?
How are you tonight?
I'm good. Yourself?
I am wonderful. I appreciate you coming on tonight. I know we've been kind of kicking this around for a little while, and I think I was sick for a while, and then you weren't feeling that well for a while, and things going on at home. But here we are. We're together, and we finally get to do this. I'm happy.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Well, guys, this is Heather. She's from Alabama. I am going to turn it over to Heather, and I am going to mute myself and let her run wild with it. It's all yours.
Thanks. I'm Heather. I'm a grateful recovering addict. Thanks so much to Joe for having me. Um, I'm grateful for one thing for Joe and his live stream. He helps me out a lot. I appreciate him very much. I'm just going to start at the beginning. Just tell you a little bit about me and how I got to where I was, and then how I got to where I am. I was born in January 9th, 1973 in Noonan, Georgia, to a 15-year-old unwed mother um, who had, her own issues and family history of addiction. I was given up for adoption. It's funny. I was told at age 7 that I was not only that I was adopted, but also that there was no Santa Claus. So like my whole world imploded. Um, Growing up, I never really felt like I fit in because I had strawberry blonde hair and freckles, and I didn't tan, and so I looked different from a lot of my friends. And so I always felt and plus I was adopted, and nobody I knew was adopted, so I kind of felt like kind of an outcast and didn't really fit in. So that was I always had self-esteem issues from a really young age, and that kind of set the stage for later. Um, so I struggled a lot when I was young, and then when I was 11. I was molested by a family member. It started at age 11 and went on for about 10 years. And that set the stage for like a whole lot of stuff in my life. Um, it caused me to really feel like I was damaged goods and like nobody would ever want me. Um, and it really made me feel it started the thinking that was warped that perpetuated throughout most of my life that, I felt like my self-worth was, equated by my physical being, and how I looked on the outside was, equivalent of how good I was or how worthy I was. And that led to low self-esteem and depression, anxiety, panic attacks, you name it. I started to develop it. It also started the development of unhealthy friendship habits, unhealthy relationships, promiscuity, My addictive behavior started long before I even got a hold of drugs to begin with. It started with food, sex, um, shopping, frivolous spending of money, um, investing too much time in trying to fix other people because my life itself was such a mess. I couldn't focus on that. So I want to go fix other people. So I would obsessively, you know, invest all this time and energy into all these bad relationships instead of working on myself. And that perpetuated throughout, middle school, high school. Um, got out of high school, married my high school sweetheart. Um, and we had a child within the first year, and then a couple of years later had another one, and then 3 years later I was pregnant with our third child. I was in nursing school, and he decides that the receptionist at his office was more like what he wanted, so he dumps me and our kids and leaves and marries her. So I'm a single parent now with three little kids, and this is where the journey takes the wide detour. I'm working night shift and I'm a single parent, got three little kids, I'm exhausted all the time. And one of my new friends, I went over to her house after school one day and she was like, "Oh, so you're tired and you're like juggling all these responsibilities and you're doing it all by yourself. Here, try this." She had a little baggie. And I'll never forget, it was about this big. It had this sparkly, like crystally looking powder in it and a little yellow straw. She was like, "Try this. You'll have energy for days." And I was like, I was goody two shoes all growing up through school, never did anything, didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do anything. And I was like, "What is it?" And she was like, "It's crystal meth." And I was like, "Oh, what? No, I can't do that. Oh my God." And I was like flipping out. And she was like, "Trust me, just try it." So, okay. Out of desperation, I did. Felt like nails. It was awful. It was horrible. And then like 13, 14 hours later, I was still awake, still had amazing energy. And so I thought, it's the answer to my prayers. I can get everything done and I'm still have all this energy. Well, that was just one bad idea after another. As addicts, we don't make good decisions. So I was what you would call, what we tell ourselves, a functional addict for about a year and a half. And what I thought was a functional addict, and went about my life, thought everything was fine, thought I was doing a good job, not really realizing the way that it was being perceived by other people. Um, then I started hanging out with people, skipping work, skipping responsibilities, hanging out with people that were also doing it, um, smoking, chilling, avoiding life. Because as addicts, we tend to isolate from the world and from social situations. And when we get deep into our active addiction, we don't want to be around the world. We want to hide from the world, and that's what I was doing. And I got in deep into that, and the downward spiral began. And when it got to the point where it was really starting to screw up everything, one of my friends, kind of, intervened and said, "Look, this is not good," and that's when I first got introduced to Narcotics Anonymous. And that was back in 2005. That's when I first started going to meetings. And so I cleaned up for a while, got back on the straight and narrow, cleaned everything up, kind of the remnants of what a semblance of a life and everything. And, about 6 months later, then I got introduced to crack cocaine. And that was the beginning of, from 2006 to 2020 was my horrible love affair with cocaine. And that was my downfall. So depression and anxiety, was always there. It had been there since, early years. Got married again pretty quickly after the first divorce. Everything seemed fine until about 5 weeks after we got married. And then, some behaviors started to emerge and some, physical, psychological abuse started happening. And then I ended up getting out of that relationship. And then I started using more and more because I was unhappy and I was sad and I was depressed and I was hanging out with all the wrong people. And trying to fill the void in my heart that, the trauma and the abuse that I had endured as a young person and the failed relationships and all the things that were going on that had left me wanting. Instead of fixing all that, I just tried to numb those emotions. And so I kept using and kept using and kept using, and it just never makes it better. You just forget about how you're feeling in the meantime. So that continued on for a few more years. And man, I became a master manipulator. And man, and they says in the basic text, you spend the getting and using and finding ways and means to get more drugs. You live to use and use to live. That was me. Like from the minute I woke up to the minute I went to bed, it was how many dollars can I come up with? How much dope can I buy with it? When that's run out, how can I come up with some more money? Who can I manipulate to give me money, or what can I sell, or what little job can I do to get some extra cash? And that's just my life just revolved around what can I get? How can I numb these feelings? And then when that's over, how can I start that whole cycle over again? And that went on for a few more years. And in 2016, I was hanging out with some really, really, really bad people that were horrible for me. And someone introduced me to a needle. And that was just the end of me. And then it started being a daily, chronic, multiple times a day use. And it was just me in my bathroom with the door closed, thinking, nobody knows what I'm doing. Nobody knows why I'm in here for an hour every 4 or 5 hours. Nobody knows why I never come out of my bedroom. Nobody knows why I don't go anywhere. I've stopped really bathing frequently. I might bathe occasionally. Nobody's noticing that I'm not eating, that I don't want to talk on the phone, that I don't want to even come into the kitchen. I mean, I was isolated and stuck in a prison that I created, all because it was just chasing that next minute where I didn't feel anything, didn't have to deal with the guilt, didn't have to deal with the shame, didn't have to deal with memories, didn't have to deal with anything. It was just all just covering it all up. It got so bad that in 2018, in the middle of the night, I woke up and I was just so sick. I had a really high fever, couldn't stop throwing up, went to the emergency room, had a 105-degree temperature, and I had given myself a blood infection from reusing dirty equipment. I almost died. And if that wasn't enough, they had to put an IV line in my upper arm and send me home with it. And I had to do IV antibiotics for a month and a half every day just to stay alive. You would think I would learn from that, right? But no, I didn't. And then I had gave myself, from lack of sleep and lack of food, psychosis, and ended up in the psych ward. That was interesting because I hadn't slept in 3 days. I was hallucinating and having conversations in my bathroom with people that were not there. But I saw them, but they weren't there. So then we get to 2019, which this is when it starts to get to the turning point. And, up to this point, I had done things that I would have never done if it hadn't been for this addiction. I'd been to places I don't have any business going, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. People I didn't have any business talking to. People that I would just walk up to, don't know them from Adam. Hey, I'm Heather. I talked to so-and-so. They said I could come up here and talk to you and you would do this. And if it wasn't what I thought it should be, I would tell them. Behavior like that could get you killed. But I didn't care. 2019, I got arrested for selling 20 Klonopin to a friend of mine's son, and he turned me in. So I got arrested. And COVID made court delayed for a long time, so I didn't end up having to go to court until the beginning of 2020. And part of this whole court thing was I was sent to do an assessment and sent to drug court. And that was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me, because part of drug court is you are forced to go to treatment. And so I went to outpatient treatment, and it was all on Zoom. It was 4 days a week for 4 hours for 5 months. And but just prior to that, it was in the summer. We go to the beach every July, third week of July. And the day before I was about to drive to the beach with my son is the last time that I used. It was July 19th, 2020. And I had just about had it. I was depressed. I was not suicidal, but I just couldn't exist. My life was completely unmanageable. I couldn't, life on life's terms. I couldn't even comprehend what that meant. I couldn't function as a normal adult. I was kind of stuck in a state of like adolescence. I was so immature. My emotions were all crazy, out of whack. I couldn't control them. I would, have emotional outbursts of anger, and then I would be crying, and then it was horrible. And I had gotten to the point I'd been doing it my way for so long. And, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. Well, that's what I had been doing for like 15 years in active addiction. It's just, well, maybe if I just do it this way, maybe it'll be okay. Or maybe I only do it on a Tuesday, or maybe if I only use this much. Nah, none of it worked. None of it worked. Doing it my way was just not gonna do it. So I finally had just had enough, and I said, all right, you know what? Okay, I give up. And I just said, I'm done. And I completely and totally surrendered. And I had been to NA before, and I thought, it really helped me before. Please let it help me. Please, maybe it could help me again. And so I went on the NA website, and I was like, Zoom meetings? No way. So I went to a Zoom meeting, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to 100%, because when I'd done it before, I'd been kind of half-ass about it. But this time I was like, you know what? I'm going to 100% dive in, and I'm not going to, my dog's biting me. Sorry. I'm just going to 100% listen to whatever they tell me to do. I'm going to find a sponsor. I'm going to do the 90 meetings in 90 days. If I can go on Zoom, I can go anytime. I don't have to worry about if anybody's, has schedule conflicts. I can sit in my bed and go. I can go in the middle of the night. That's what I love about Zoom meetings. And so I did. And I went to that first meeting, and I cried, and I did the burning desire to share. And I said, I have not even a whole day clean, and I can't live like this anymore. Somebody please help me. And I got 4 or 5 phone numbers, and I started going to meetings, and I went sometimes 3 times a day for the first couple of months. And after the first couple of months, I got a sponsor, and I still have her. She is daily lifeline. I talk to her every single day. The first thing I do when I wake up with this precious pup who I got in September. I get up with the dog. I read the Just for Today meditation and feed the dog. And then I text my sponsor and I say, good morning. And if I don't, she is on my ass, texting me, calling me. Are you okay? Why haven't I heard from you? What's up? She helps hold me accountable, and helps keep me in check. And when I get too much in my head or too emotional or too out of it, she also helps bring me down to earth and helps me off the ledge. I work in the steps with her. I've done step work before, but never 100% invested, never with all effort. And stop it. I'm sorry. Never with honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, which you absolutely have to have if you're going to work a program and have any kind of lasting effect or positive effect on your recovery. And I'm on step 6. I just started it. Step 4 was really eye-opening, kind of brutal, and I put it off forever. Step 5 was awful, and I hated it, but it had to be done. But 1, 2, and 3, I kind of do every day a little bit, and it was really hard, but it was once I got through those, my life was unmanageable, and I was powerless. That was the first thing I had to realize. Two, I had to realize that there was something greater than me and that it could help me. And I wrote down some quotes that I wanted to mention. Um, the one thing, this is what I want to remember. The one cool thing about NA that I've always loved is that no matter who's in the meeting or who's sharing or what the topics are, is you can always find a common thread in someone's story or someone's share, something that you can relate to. Or you'll be sitting there and you'll hear somebody share and you'll be sitting there and you go, oh my God, me too. I totally can relate to that. And I've always thought that was so cool. And that makes you feel like, you know what? I'm not alone. It's not just me. There are other people out there who are just as fucked up and twisted as I am. And it makes you feel like, you know what? I can get, it is true. We do recover. And this program is a life-saving, life-altering, life-giving program. And without this program, I would not be sitting here talking to you today. NA saved my life. I was a hopeless, miserable, unhappy, just there was no hope left, hiding in my bathroom junkie. And once I got fully enmeshed, stop biting me, fully enmeshed. I mean, she's like going crazy over here.
We're having all kinds of pet problems tonight.
Yeah, do you see her? This
I told
is
you my
Dolly.
cat would bomb me.
She gets me up at 5 o'clock every morning, which is wonderful. Stop biting me. Anyway, but NA saved my life. I truly believe that I would be dead now if it had not been for the program. But they say that we're never alone, and I can't, but we can, and the steps are our solution. And I will absolutely believe that. And the biggest thing about NA is that the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is beyond parallel. And I fully believe that with all of my soul, because you just don't get it unless you get it. And the common ground you find in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous is so wonderful and can be so helpful when you're struggling to hear someone else's perspective. And this time around in recovery, it sticks, and it's lasting, and it's working. And I have 19 months clean on the 20th. It's the longest clean time I've ever had in 17 years of active addiction. And it's because of this. Stop, my dog is mauling me. But and two more things and I'll be done. The big thing that I have to anyone who's struggling or anyone who's wondering if this program could do anything for them. And I do Narcotics Anonymous. I know there's other fellowships, but that's what works for me. But recovery has to come first, and everything else comes after that. Because if you don't put recovery first, then it'll be last. And I have learned that much from other people and from everything I've experienced. And recovery is a lifelong journey. It's not a destination. You're never recovered. You're always recovering. And you can always learn, you can always grow, you can always get better. And I'm learning how to be a real, live, functional adult. And I think that in the last almost 19 months that I have grown up a whole lot, more than I have in the last 49 years. And that's, thanks to the program and everything I'm learning. And like you always say, I get new tools for my toolbox when I learn things from other members, from meetings, from the literature. I can't say enough good things about the program and everything that it's taught me. But how did I do it from desperate and alone and miserable to almost 19 months? The way that we all do it, one day at a time. That's all I got. Thanks for letting me come on and share. I hope it made sense. I did follow my notes. I'm surprised that I did manage to look at them. I don't know if I was meant to go the way that I wanted to, but
you're not the only one. I mean, I'm writing them as you're sharing, because my memory's my memory's horrible.
But I'm
So
living proof that we do recover and the program does work.
absolutely. I mean, Heather, you told my story, and I'm sure you've just told a lot of others that are in here watching and listening tonight. You've got a ton of comments in here, and I'm just going to kind of go back and write down my jarble of the relation. You talked about that lived experience and that therapeutic value of one person, one addict helping another is without parallel. And it is. I put in the chat, that lived experience, me personally, is the most powerful tool in anyone's toolbox, besides whatever your higher power may be. My higher power, that lived experience, those are two bad mamma jammas right there. Man, from the toxic relationships, uh, early addictive behaviors. I didn't necessarily personally, I didn't identify a lot of mine. I didn't realize that a lot of them stemmed from early childhood until later in life when I really started going into the rooms. But low self esteem, guilty, self worth, self value, anxiety, depression, guilt, fear. Uh, I I felt like an outcast when I grew up, especially in high school. I was always heavy. I was always heavier. And, for those that have heard my story, I had gotten up over 510 pounds at one point. So food and alcohol were my first addiction or addictive behaviors that I was able to identify at that point in my life. And, when you're that big, you're literally the elephant in the room. Um, all eyes are on you no matter where you go or what you do. So I became a master isolator myself. Um, I stayed in my house. I didn't want to leave. Uh, I used in the bathroom. I related to that, like not coming out of the bathroom, uh, thinking that I was a functional addict going to work and going home with a paycheck and staying in the bathroom until the paycheck was gone. That was me. Uh, at the end of my addiction, it switched over to crack cocaine myself. So like I feel it. You know what I mean? Like I totally related to your whole story from hanging out with bad people, going in places where we shouldn't be, putting ourselves in harm's way, literally any means, any way, to get the next one. Guilty, I mean,
I
completely
completely
guilty.
I completely forgot about blessings in recovery. That's one thing I forgot to say.
Go for it. I want to hear them.
I have restored relationship with my husband and my children, my parents, my in-laws. I have 2 jobs. I've been working part-time for I worked all of last year. I worked all of my I worked from August to December of 2020. I completed uh, drug court and treatment. I got this tattoo. You see it?
Yeah, awesome.
As a present to myself when I finish treatment. Um, my self esteem's getting better. It's not there, but it's getting better. Um, and trust. That's the biggest thing. Like I can leave the house and go do errands, and I don't have a million phone calls. Where are you? What are you doing? How long are you been gone? If I say I'm going to CVS and Publix, I go there and I come home, and they don't wonder, is that where she really is? Because I don't run off and disappear like I used to. I do what I say I'm going to do, and my family trusts me, and that's huge.
It's nice to
And those
not
are
only
just a few. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's nice to not only show up for yourself today, but show up for other people,
absolutely. And
and
I do
not
service work now, and that's the other thing I forgot. Sorry.
that's absolutely awesome. There's a few that are in here that I've read in comments that are struggling with isolation and not wanting to come out. Um, you know, my recommendation whenever I hear anyone struggling, especially with isolation, is to try to get into a meeting. The virtual world is gigantic. There's a lot of platforms that do this, and they're amazing. They're amazing formats. I have been trying to visit and join in on as many as I possibly can. I try to participate and stay vigilant in my recovery. If you work an AA program, there's 24-hour meetings. If you work an NA, a CA, I honestly, almost all the A's have some type of virtual platform and or a 24-hour meeting that's available. For those that may be struggling tonight, please reach out. Please reach out and ask for help. Um, I personally, if you reach out to me on the Dayton Strong Recovery 101 page and send myself or Addie a message, we will get right back to you. I will look up links for you. I will send you meetings. I don't care if you're in Amsterdam. And I said that because my friend in Amsterdam is watching right now. I love you. Um, I will look up your area um, and get it out to you. And yes, Sherry, I do have a list. Message us. Please message me on our webpage. Like the page, message me. It goes directly to me. Let me know what program you work or what type of meeting you're looking for. I can look up OA meetings, essay meetings. I don't care. One of the blessings of recovery for me, I just celebrated 18 months myself yesterday. And I was blessed with being able to give back and be of service myself. I became certified peer support in the state of Ohio. I'm in Dayton, Ohio, and I get to give back and I get to help other people. And these are the type of things that I love to do. I enjoy it. It's a big part of my recovery. But you're right. One thing you said is, you have to keep yourself in your recovery number one. Um, that's what's important. Your recovery in you comes before the wife, the husband, the boyfriend, the girlfriend. Because if you don't have yourself, you're not going to be there for anyone else. You can't help anyone if you're not taking care of yourself. Um, it's just so important. I'm going to bring up some of these comments. Congratulations, 10 months on the 6th, Erica. I appreciate you stopping in and sharing. There's a bunch of comments in here, Heather. All kinds of love coming from all over the
Oh,
place. Um,
cool.
I lost track on a these messages are flying, and I've got a chat box that I can bring up, um, but there's so many of them. If you guys
That's
came in
awesome.
late, please rewind it and watch it. Uh, It'll be online. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. It'll be on our page. Um, I want to thank you again, Heather. I totally relate in all aspects of your story. I mean, completely. Like same addictive behaviors, like you said. That therapeutic lived experience. It's unbelievable.
And
Um,
my heaviest, I weighed 300 pounds, so I can relate to the weight stuff too.
I did. Yeah. Addie's my co-pilot next to me. I'm sorry. She told me
Okay.
to mention to Erica happy 10 months, and I was like, I did. No, she's got her earbuds in. There's a delay. There's like a 10-second delay from me streaming to where it's getting to the Facebook and YouTube community. But I want to thank each and everybody, each and everyone that came in. I want to thank you again for being patient and, sticking it out through my sickness and through your sickness. We're both back at it. We're both healthy. What's most important is we're clean today. I
Absolutely.
appreciate everybody. Erica said thanks. There's another one in here I want to bring up if I can get it to pop up. There we go. Sherry Taylor, 8 years sober, thanks to AA and her higher power. Turning it over to something greater than ourselves and letting go and letting our higher power do the driving. I just had to remind myself that second part of that was I had to put in the work. I had to stay vigilant in my recovery. I don't care what program you work. You can get out of your own way. You can get out of that driver's seat, but if you don't put in the work, you're not going to go anywhere. It took me a long time to realize that. And I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful. I try to wake up every day with that attitude of gratitude. And if I have a shitty day, I reset it. I hit that reset button and start over. It's as simple as that. I'm gonna bring up a few more comments before I close out. Patty, what I seen is the old disabled woman who needs help in the stores. I quit going to the stores because of the shame I felt. Well, there shouldn't be any shame in your game. I see you getting around that house on Zoom meetings all the time, girlfriend. You be going around burning it up and down those aisles. But I understand. I get it. That's, where I relate to that is when I was at my heaviest, when I was really big, because I became so shameful and embarrassed because of my weight and my size and my looks that I was embarrassed. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to go out in public. Um, and that's where the isolation came in. And my isolation became so bad in the latter part of my addiction, almost 20 plus years worth, to where my family was looking in obituaries to see if I was still alive because I had disconnected from everyone that I loved, anyone and everyone that reached out to me, everyone that cared about me. I blew them all off. I blew every single one of them off. Patty, 16 months was a few days ago. I'm so proud of you, Joe and Heather. Well, we're proud of you too. That's part of our Serenity Cafe on Zoom. That's a Narcotics Anonymous meeting that runs roughly 6 hours a day. I'll plug it. Um, it's a great meeting. We're one big happy family, and it's the relatable experience. We get it. You guys are normies to me, if that makes any sense. For those that are in here, it probably does. But Addie's putting some links up to the group. There is a private group page. You're more than welcome to join. There's the Facebook calls it a business page, but I am not a business. I'm not in it for profit. I'm in here to carry the message of hope to anyone that's out there suffering and needs help. Please reach out to me. I am there for you. I will help you in any way I possibly can. Addie will herself. We just love to carry the message and help and give back and be of service as much as we possibly can, guys. That's what it's all about. Saving lives. There's people out there dying daily because of this disease. And it's just a fact. I have to carry Narcan around with me at my job. I keep it in my cars. There isn't a week that doesn't go by where I work at in the peer recovery world where I don't see somebody get Narcan or get hauled off in an ambulance. It's a sad fact, but it happens and it happens daily. It's horrible. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for being in here tonight. I want to thank you again, Heather. Meant a lot to me. I appreciate you sharing your experience, strength, and hope. Remember, guys, there is opportunities daily. I mean, they are presented to us daily, and we have a choice daily. Chase your recovery like you used to chase your drug of choice. Chase it like you're dope. Go after it 110%. Get it in. Remain vigilant. Stay focused. Stay positive. If anything, stay positive and keep your head up. And no matter what, do not pick up. Reach out and ask for help if you guys are struggling. Zach R. from California, please tune in on the 18th, 8 p.m., same time, same bat channel. I'm going to have Zach R. from California on. You guys are not going to want to miss it. Zach is going to share his experience, strength, and hope. He has a wild story. I am calling it Friday Night Unfiltered for a reason because Zach is definitely going to be unfiltered. No holds barred. I'm cutting the reins off of him. It's going to be fun. We're going to kind of share back and throw questions at one another. You're not going to want to miss it. There's an event page on both Facebook and YouTube that you can click for a reminder. I hope everybody has a great night. I appreciate you guys being in here again. If you tuned in late, please pop back on and hit that rewind button. You are able to rewind it. I want to thank everyone for participating in not only my recovery, but your own recovery tonight. And I hope everybody has a great night. And thanks for tuning in. Heather, thanks again. I know you're backstage. I love you guys. We will catch you guys later.